Hi, this is Jeff from Junior Hockey Advisor. Today we're going to cover the USHL Draft 2019 Phase 2, Rounds 1 through 3. Where did they come from? And if they're not on the roster, where did they go? So looking at the first 3 rounds, there's some interesting facts. 44 total players taken. You got to go to number 21 before you find a kid that does not have a college commitment. And 3 picks are draft picks. 1 player is returning from the NCAA. Going back up to that first fact of the 20 committed, overall, there's only 7 players of the first 44 that do not have college commits. 1 is because he's returning from college. He already had his commit. He's going to have to find a new program. So where do those players come from in the first 3 rounds? Well, the NAL, the National Training Development Program, the BCHL, the Canadian Junior A system, 3 foreign players, 1 returner, 6 from prep, 3 Minnesota high school players, and 2 from Tier 1 Elite, and 1 Canadian midget. So you can see that 80% of the people being picked in the first 3 rounds have junior experience under their belt, heavily weighted for the North American Hockey League, which I believe is the way it should be, of course, and with the National Training and Development Program also being part of the USHL. They're just moving over from one area to another. So let's look at the 10 players that did not make USHL rosters. The first 3 rounds, it looks like this. The 10 players broke down to 7 in the first and second rounds. That's disproportionately high. You want to see your first and second rounders actually making your roster and being a productive player. So where did they come from? The players that did not make their rosters, they came from the CCHL, Minnesota High School, some prep players, 1 from Austria, and 2 from the North American Hockey League. Interesting fact here, and let's see if that'll fade in, there it is, only 2 players were on the midsummer 30-man rosters. So it was known ahead in advance that some of these players were not going to be on their 23-man roster. Now, a couple of these players may be affiliates, so that you might get some back-end play out of them, but first and second rounders, even third rounders, those are guys you want to actually be on your roster being productive all season long. Those 10 players that did not make a roster, where did they go? Well, this is where they broke down and went to, so it shouldn't be where did they go, it should really be where they stayed, because the CCHL players stayed, the BCHL picked up some players, but those Minnesota high school, 2 of 3 stayed in Minnesota high school. 2 of 3 of the prep players stayed. Your foreign players stayed, and your NAL players stayed. What's interesting there is the 2 players, respectively, from the Minnesota high school and prep that left went to the BCHL. The BCHL, one of those players that left for the BCHL that was a draft pick was actually a prep player. So interesting that he did not go to the league. He actually chose to go to play in the BCHL. So there's the BCHL players on there. Interesting, taking a look at Madison, who of the 10, they had 3 of the 10 players that did not end up in the league. So in the first 3 rounds, 10 players did not make it. 1 team had 3, and they had 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick. So overall, they had 4 picks. They had 2 picks in the second round, but 3 players in the first and second round did not make their roster, nor were they on their 30-man roster. Now, there's a possibility that they're going to be affiliates and you get some back-end use out of them in the season after their high school is done, but that's still not the reason you put somebody as a first-round or a second-round pick. That'd be concerning to me. I hope this information was fun for you. Once again, I'm Jeff from Junior Hockey Advisor. Please like us. Please follow us. Please subscribe to us. Whatever you can do to help us get rolling. The website's still a work in process, but there's tons of good information already on there. There's some good articles and videos. I hope you enjoy it. Give me some feedback on what you think.